think, if certain, oh, we just got some feedback. Sorry. Your staff and team is your number one resource. That's not coming across really well, is it, guys? You might have to come back to me.
Can you mute your? It's my fault. Can you mute your PC? That should solve it. And we should be good to go now.
Okay, sorry. There we go. No, it's still happening. Absolutely want to ensure your number one asset in your business, which in services, that's your team and that's your staff. So invest in them, I think, is the important thing. I think if you, certainly from my background, I'm comfortable handling my HR function to a point. And so I think building a strategic alliance with a HR professional is really important. And I have invested in HR software. And I think also making sure that you've got some very robust policies and procedures just around HR. So if you invest in those components and then just know when it's not a general issue anymore and when you need to have the professionals, I think that's the most important thing. But there's more investment in this area these days needed for both accountants and their small business. And talking about selling HR, if you do have a HR division or a HR function within your accounting practice and being able to leverage that to clients, funnily enough, even as a HR generalist, this was quite a number of years ago already. Anytime one of the accountants had their client ask them a HR issue, they walk straight into my office and go, Linda, you look after our HR. What should they do? And, a lot of the times I just go, whoa, that's, I don't know the industry. I know enough about what we do, but you need to seek some professional advice. So creating the strategic alliances, I think, is very important, and to learn about it. So yeah, invest in it. You need to ensure your number one asset, and I think that's time and money needs to go into the HR function. It's just the way business is done these days.
That is correct. Yes, Aaron, did you want to add something? No, we're getting a little bit of feedback, but I think you're working on it, so it's not that bad. Maybe this is the time to bring Tom into our discussion. Hi, Tom.
Good morning, and good afternoon or good evening, wherever you are in the world as well, to everyone else.
So yeah, good morning. Sorry, I'm just hearing the.
Good morning, and good afternoon or good evening.
Hold on, I'm just hearing the feedback, so it should be now. No, can I still?
Yep, I can hear you.
Let's try. Okay, so Tom is from the recruitment agency called Reed. I'm just hearing the feedback, so it should be now. No, can I still? Yep. Okay, hold on. Sorry, Tom. Okay, so Tom from.
Can I jump into Clubhouse, because that's where it's becoming an issue, is bringing people in from here.
In the meantime, Sharon, what's your take on this until Tom will try to sort himself out with the sound. What would you recommend? Obviously, you working with the practices, you're working from different angles. What would you recommend, and what do you see? What's happening? Is it a change in trend? How the HR is being approached?
I do think so. Like I said, I'm seeing more in the way of outsourcing now of components of it anyway. But certainly with larger accountancy firms, there is normally an internal HR division. And I think increasingly we're seeing people have training divisions or HR divisions within their firm. And I've mentioned my thoughts on the HR aspects before, I suppose, where I think it is important to have a relationship with an external specialist, really important to have contracts in place, tick those boxes, and ensure employee compliance is what it should be. But something I think we could touch on a bit while we're sorting out Tom's sound. Am I all right to carry on talking now? I am hearing twice. Okay, fine, I'll carry on. Is if a firm brings in an HR division or a training division, I think that in itself needs thinking about, because immediately then you've got a little bit of a disconnect between what training is being planned and how those students and qualified team members, where we're keeping them up to date and developing them and coaching them, that's being organised outside of the partners and the technical experts within the firm. Now, that's often great from a talent management point of view and people that can focus on employee development as a discipline. But in terms of the technical drive and the direction of the firm, I think it's really important that they have an HR strategy that aligns with the overall business strategy, that those running the HR function are very attuned with what the managing partner and the others in that firm that are leading it, that are driving it forward, want to achieve. So as an example, something we've seen in the UK over the last 5-6 years, probably longer, time flies, doesn't it, is some accountants are now providing probate services. And there was a strategic decision needed around that. Some didn't go down that route, some did. And for those that did, it was a compliance piece again. There was a necessity to obtain a license, do additional training, sit an exam again even, which was fun for some practitioners that have been qualified for a long time. But that kind of strategic direction around where we want to take the firm and what training do we need to achieve that, it's really important that that's joined up. So yes, I think if the firm is big enough to justify the cost, I think I am an advocate for having a internal department that coordinates it all with a strategy that ties into that wider strategy. But for a smaller firm, I think it's really important just to have a good external advisor on hand where you can pick up the phone, ping them a message, download help sheets, download infographics, and make sure that from interview stage onwards, you're looking after your talent, you're coaching your talent, and crucially, you're keeping them aligned with your own strategy.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Sharon, talking through the minefield of feedback. But no, we're just going to carry on. This is the first time, so we are allowed to not to be 100%. And thank you all for your patience. Aaron, you're still smiling. That's good. Now, we have managed to get Tom on board. He is now on Clubhouse. So welcome, Tom. And I'm not sure how much you heard, but my question to you as a recruitment professional for the accountancy world, what trends are you seeing in the moment? What are the accountancy firms wanting from you to recruit on their behalf? And whether the HR is being more significant or is being more under the radar than it was before?
Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you very much for your patience and for inviting me on this morning. To answer the question, I think it's worth taking a bit of a step back and just noting that as a recruitment consultant, it's always focused on the accountancy practice market in Northern Ireland and connected to a wider network of recruiters in the UK and Ireland, also focusing on practice. We're well aware, as everyone here is, that it always has been a very candidate-led market. Since January 2021, we've really sort of seen that come into focus to the extent that more HR professionals who we've otherwise never heard of with larger mid-tier practices have actually started to reach out to us as an agency to help resource candidates. The big changes we've sort of seen, and there's a myriad of reasons why candidates are no longer bringing their CVs to the marketplace, and why our usual avenues of recruitment and resourcing from our access to jobs boards, as well as the uncountable hours that we spend on LinkedIn headhunting these candidates. They've really decided to sit tight because of perhaps some nervousness around the market, but the big changes, and apologies if this has been discussed already to everyone attending, but the big changes around work from home, of what candidates have been sort of asking for months, but probably years. And the big sea change now in the last 12 months is this huge drastic change in working habits that has taken very deep root in quite a short period of time, that a lot of people are having that option to work from home and have remote access to work as a fundamental first request. It's the first thing they're asking whenever we're doing our registrations. So the big changes in the market has been just the shortage of candidates and what they're looking for. We've really had to sort of stress to the candidates that there's a spirit of compromise needed between the employee and prospective employer. That, yes, maybe work from home will happen, but once you're implemented and once you're embedded, the big job for us is really trying to, match the expectations of accountants and the HR departments to what the candidates and the job seekers are looking for. And this has really come into focus since about January this year. And it seems to have extended into our colleagues within industry, accounts-based roles, as well as financial service, insurance, and all the rest of it too. But it's really on focus within the practice market, Ava.
Very good. So would you say, Tom, that it's a candidate's market now?
Absolutely. Yeah, it always has been, in our experience, that it's always been a candidate-led market. I'm sure everyone on this call who maybe has relationships and preferred suppliers with recruitment consultants, very often it's the case that they'll be bringing CVs forwards to your good selves to make you aware of newly available candidates in the market, because we all know, or any recruitment consultant in this marketplace should know, these candidates are few and far between. So it is it's our duty of care to make sure when a newly qualified chartered accountant, an experienced bookkeeper, all with practice experience of course, is available in the market, that the recruiter's bringing them to you before you have to go and knock on their door to say, I'm looking for XYZ members of staff, can you help out? We're always trying to be that step ahead because of the scarcity of candidates, Ava.
Very good. Thank you, Tom. That's an interesting point. You can mute yourself. Sorry, I'm just not trying to be bossy, but just to make sure we're not getting any more feedback.
Of course. Oh, I'm used to it. Thank you.
I'm used to it. Oh, I feel bad this morning. But, guys, this morning definitely set me up for today. We're still smiling, so that's good. So, that was interesting thing, and kind of that's why I was asking Tom, is the candidate market, because I was speaking to kind of all the partner in the firm, and the way they described it, before whenever we interviewed candidates, they would need to tell us why they are good for us, good enough to work within our company. But now the tables are turning, and actually we have to sell ourselves to them. So it's very interesting the way the dynamics are changing. And I think that's just echoing and amplifying the need for proper HR, because it just can't be just a half an hour job here and there. So I think that's just kind of really magnifying the issue. Kind of trying to wrap this, and probably we'll finish a few minutes earlier, just to make sure that we'll get it next time better. What would be your advice if somebody is in practice, they know that they have to accommodate this hybrid working, but they don't have at the moment any HR function what would be kind of the top tip from each of you?
Eva, I was just going to say before too about, you know, building those strategic alliances. As a practice manager, I always made a point to build relationships with the recruiters. And so what was happening then in a market, because here in Australia, it has been a candidates market for years and years and years. And so absolutely, when you went into an interview, it was a sale. And so they interviewed you as much as you interviewed them. And one of the best pieces of advice I got was the fact of how to structure an interview around, you know, making sure you're listening to the candidate, asking those important questions about finding out what they really want and listening to what are the key things that they're after in an employer, in a role. Because a lot of the time money isn't always the most important factor. Yes, it's important, but, you know, there's other things. And so listening to that and then describing the firm and the role to absolutely solve all those problems and hopefully get the candidate walking out of the interview going, I want to work there, you know. So that was the challenge. But start building or maintaining relationships with recruiters. They're the people that are going to see the candidates hopefully first. Like Tom said, it's likely the professionals are going to go to them with their resumes and pop them up there. And if they know you're actively looking for somebody, if they know that you're a good firm, you're a good employer, you tell them about you, then it's likely they're going to go, knock, 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 Linda. We've got this candidate. We always bring them to you first because we know that you'll look after them, or you put a lot of effort into making sure they're the right one for you. So I would, if you don't have a HR function, start building some relationships and put some time into start building some relationships. I think that's an important factor.
Thank you, Linda. What about you, Sharon?
Sorry, I was unmuting the wrong one again. It's all new, isn't it? Yeah, again, you've got to agree with everything that's been said. Recruitment is a changing market. We, as a business, actually have been for a number of years recruiting graduates into accountancy firms, and that's a market we did see shift around a lot during the pandemic. But also, I think it's been a changing market for a number of years, and increasingly we're seeing the needs of those candidates change with the younger generations coming through. So reflecting then on what Linda was just saying about listening to what they're looking for, listening to what they need, it's really important. And my experience as an interviewer, not necessarily of graduates, but for anybody potentially coming into the business that I work for, I do find it very helpful, and I believe HR compliance, get me, to have a very structured set of questions that I'm asking all candidates for fairness. And then with each of them, I might ask a question, but I'll have notes underneath of the competencies that I'm looking for and the particular things that I'm looking for them to say, and then scoring against them. And I find that it's helpful for me structuring my thoughts afterwards with candidates that can give some very varied, shall we say, answers and then their own questions. But it also gives a very fair feedback session afterwards as to why you've chosen that particular candidate and supported it. So I don't know if I've gone off on a bit of a tangent there. Did that answer your question?
No, this was fabulous. Thank you so much. Thank you. Aaron, what's your top tip?
Yeah, so
in the world of HR, there's
so
so
much. When it comes to the hybrid working, what we've found
has
is
been important to us is first of all
just try and keep it as straightforward as possible when it comes to structure within your organisation. So, for example, hold meetings online by default. We learned that from day one. If we're gonna be able to be inclusive of both our people who are working in the office, because their roles need them to work in the office, with the people who work
working outside, then we should just have a set rule that every meeting is now online, and it's a case of, even if they're in the same room, they jump into that meeting environment, give opportunities for others to be included. They need to have that opportunity. Bring in technologies on our side these days. With that, it's so easy to have these online meetings now, and we made it so online meetings is now our default way of doing it. If we are having people who are working remotely and we've got people in the meeting rooms as well, then we need to be inclusive of those. We need to be bringing them in. We need to make sure that they know that they're involved and they're meaningful. We want to make sure as well that if there is any conflict, we've had a bit of this because of people feeling like it's unfair, feeling like it's not it's not what it was during the heat of the pandemic compared to what their role is now. You just need to make sure that conflict is dealt with straight away. It's most of the time down to miscommunication. So having the opportunity to really talk to you individuals and talk to them on a regular basis, give them the opportunity to air their concerns, give them the opportunity to give you a chance to talk to them, is going to be the only way really to combat it. I've certainly never seen it where I've had to have so much open dialogue with team members and staff and everything else as we're learning ourselves of what's working, what's not working in this new hybrid way. So number one is make sure you got all your meetings, everything is just online now, make it so it's inclusive to everyone. And then number two is just keep those online, keep those dialogues between staff members open and just have those conversations. And if you do have conflict, then deal with it straight away, because it'll only end up just rotting. So they're my two big tips.
Thank you. Agree to all your points, all three of you. And I think it's more important now than ever to stay really connected, not just connected, but stay really connected and keep checking in with each other. I think that's the main thing, because we don't know what's happening in each person's life, and we might just get the one face of this person, but underneath there might be other issues going on. Maybe this can be our topic in the future, but I think we are here to support each other, and as employer, I think employer is playing very big part, and I think it was a little bit underrated in the last 12 or 18 months. Certainly that's how I felt, and many of my colleagues as well within the practice environment. So thank you guys. This was very interesting morning. Thank you all for staying with us. Thank you for sticking with us. Aaron, huge bow to you. We'll catch up later. We'll see how we can tune this out. Now we are taking a break next week, but we'll be back the following week. So at least it will give us time to sort out the technicalities. Please, Aaron, I'm looking at you. But yes, enjoy in Northern Ireland. We have started officially summer. That's our summer break started. So enjoy yourself, whatever you're doing. But certainly we will be back. I'm going to post a few gold thoughts from today. And hopefully next time we'll be back stronger, better. Also, if you have any topics you would like to discuss, or you see that issues that are happening within your environment, please bring them forward, because I want it to be relevant. We want it to be relevant. And there are some things I might not be thinking about. So just please make sure you voice your opinion as well. So thank you all so much. Clap to all of you. Thank you. Have a lovely day. And I'll see you not next week, but the after week. Okay? Bye.
Cheers, everyone. Cheers, everyone.
Bye.
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 Thanks. Bye.
Can everyone hear me all right? Just a real quick one. I think I figured out how to fix it going forward.